Pleased to meet you. This is Fixed and Folded, the knife review channel for the casual knife collector. I am Cody, and my assistant Tommy's got me my wing cat over here. I'm going to be doing a review of the Acta Non Verba A400 Hard Task extra large folding knife. I saw a review on Aaron's channel, the outdoor gentleman reviewing the ANV, and I loved the size of it and the shape and the uniqueness of the profile. So I thought I'd have to order one for myself. Ordered it from Czechoslovakia from ANV Knives, and it arrived in about 3 weeks, and I'm very happy with it. So you do have a thin blade stock for a knife of this size. The spine is rounded, which is really nice. Reminds me of like Italian design, Italian knives, like Viper. But it has a unique design that is really, really enjoyable. The handle scales, the G10 handle kind of reminds me of like a ram's horn pattern. Really aggressive out of the box. I went and sanded it to make it more palatable. It's still medium texture, but it's not going to chew the pocket apart like the default track pattern did. You've got a bar lock system. It works really well. You've got bearings, so it's effortless. Your methods of deployment is just swing it with the bar lock or use the flipper tab, and it's possible to fail the flipper tab when it's pointed up. There's a really light detent, but if you just do some flick, if you just do a bit of a wrist flick, then it opens pretty easily. Yeah, because the detent is so light, the kind of sharp angle on the flipper tab isn't going to be an issue with comfort or anything. And yeah, as long as you're doing a wrist flick. Let's see if I go down. Okay, so it just opens easily if you point down or anything that's below the axis of 180 degrees, but a little bit of flick, you can do it up, no problem. I do like that knives that don't have thumb studs, because there's nothing to get in the way of the cutting path. And so yeah, it's well designed for that, for opening and closing. The handle is really big. It's 5.5 inches from the very bottom to the front, which just barely passes my pocket test. So I'll show you here. I've got 5.5 inch pockets, my 5'11" pants, and it's just hidden. You can see how close it is to protruding. So it barely passes my pocket test, but it does. So this is the absolute maximum size of knife that I want to carry for myself. The weight is right between medium and heavy. I'm going to say this is over 5 ounces. Might even be 6.5 is my guess. So let's see what my scale says. Scale says, okay, 5.1. 5.1 ounces is good for a knife of this size. So how did they achieve that? Okay, so ANV has done some skeletonizing of the frame. There's steel inner liners that have been heavily skeletonized, and the G10 is heavily contoured, which also reduces weight. And the blade stock itself is thin. This is a Sleipner steel, which is a variant of D2, maybe a little bit more toughness. And this is coated with DLC, diamond-like coating. You have a high flat grind with a nice even cutting edge on both sides. And this pierces and slices really well out of the box. You have a trigger pull choke up here you can do. This is meant to strike a fire steel and also be a sharpening choil, but it's not You can't go finger forward, your blade will cut you, but you can have enough area on the flipper tab to do a trigger pull choke up, and you've got some interesting jimping. It's rounded at the very top, but it's really aggressive because of how deep it is. So it's aggressive jimping. I can't slide my finger across it, but it's also not uncomfortable. So well done. Hand comfort is excellent, even with the aggressive jimping from the box. The hand comfort, once you're holding it, is really good because of the shape with the finger cut out and the palm swell here. They've designed it to be ergonomically very good. You have a wire pocket clip, which, let's see, it's a full deep carry if your pockets are this shaped. I think for me, it's gonna have a little bit poking out the top like this. If you're going right up and down, you're gonna have this much poking out. Pocket clip is really comfortable. Just this little end touches my palm here. I wear extra large gloves. I got 4-inch palm, 3.5 inch at the fingers, and this is a huge handle. Overall length is 9.5 inches. Let me see how long the blade is. 9.75 inches overall. You got a 4.25 inch blade with a 4-inch cutting area, 5.5 inch handle, so 9.75 inches. So it's a big knife, big folding knife. Biggest one in my collection. I'll show you when I do my size comparison. For aesthetics, you've just got these nice looking vertical lines here, clean looking blade. You've got not a swoop, you've got an angle in the back there from the flat to the edge to the grind. Tapers down in the last fifth to a fine point, actually. The point of balance is back a little bit. It's right here at the beginning of the finger cutout. A little bit handle heavy, but overall the knife is light for its size, so balance is good. Yeah, because there's nothing like at the top here. You can do saber grip, thumb forward, choke up, no problem. So really well implemented for multiple hand positions. Reverse grip is not great. Because this is angled. Reverse grip is good. You can actually rest your thumb along the flat here. So I'm changing my opinion there. Reverse grip is actually good. Draw cutting, there's no jimping for the draw cutting, but perfectly serviceable for food prep. It's doable, but this flipper tab is going to get in the way. You can't go straight down, but you can use the belly here to overcome the distance of the flipper tab to cut your food. So not ideal because of this. So food prep is going to be doable, okay. It says hard task along the spine here. ANV is their ANV logo. On this other side, it's the A400 hard task Sleipner steel made in Czech Republic. All the logoing there. Nothing on the handle. You just have these little red accented bar lock tabs, and you got some shiny red barrel spacers. And overall, so it's like a pretty low attention, tactical looking design with a bit of collector flair on the top. the impression in the hand, it does not feel like a heavy duty knife. It feels like up to medium duty. So for calling this hard task, I think that's a misnomer. I think this should be more, this would be good for batoning, even though it's a bar lock. If you had to baton, just because of the shape of the blade, it's long and thin with a high flat grind. You can do some emergency batoning. Eventually this might break, but I'm just thinking of what was the hardest task that this thing could do. Really, this is, yeah, I mean, you do have your ferro rod. You could do some, feather sticking, but yeah, because it's a bar lock and not a fixed blade, this is not going to be great at batoning long term. Certainly a camp knife, bit of tactical use. It's long enough. You could do some defense with it, but it's really just a really big EDC knife. Okay, you also have a glow in the dark, but you have a little glow in the dark cutout here on the flipper tabs, which is kind of cute. It's not a tritium or anything. You just have to put some light on it and it'll glow for like 30 seconds. It's a bit of a gimmick. All right, we'll do some size comparisons. So start with a medium sized knife. I could fit all my fingers around it. You go up to a full size, you go a little bit larger, you get up to the Recon M1, which is extra large territory, and this guy, which is even bigger. So yeah, this is a really large pocket knife. My complaint with it is the handle is so long. Let's see, with a typical bar lock, I'll just rest my palm against the handle as a leverage point to open and close the bar lock. But with this, it's so long, I can't do that. My fingers don't get up that high. So I have to kind of get into a fancy position before I can do it. So I can't easily access the bar lock. Let's see how quickly I can do it. Okay, and it takes about that long for me to get into position to open and close it, where the typical bar lock, I can just do it real quick. Done. So for me, I have to give this like maybe a 9 out of 10. You can two-hand it open and close it. So I'm just taking a point off for the actuation of the bar lock. It's kind of hard for me to access it. So if you got smaller than extra large glove hands, this not going to be ideal for you. Certainly you can open and close it with two hands, and then hey, you might love it. If you have huge hands, you might really like this. I think anyone with large or bigger hands can wield this, but yeah, just be aware. The jimping comes super aggressive out of the box, and good luck getting the palm traction to open and close. But this is a cool knife, a unique design, well implemented. It's a good, maybe very good folding knife. I was unable to find this model anywhere other than their actual office in Czechoslovakia, so I did have to import this into Canada. And you're taking a risk there because to going into Calgary, some of the borders are pretty good for letting these come across, but if it actually gets through the Alberta border from Montana, they're pretty strict with letting bar lock knives in, they generally don't. So 30% chance if you order a knife, any kind of bar lock knife outside of Canada, it's not gonna get to you. It's gonna get held at the border forever. So took a risk, and in this case, it paid off. So that concludes my review of the ANV Hardtask A400. Have a great night. I will talk to you soon. Bye.